Imagine you're walking through a quiet garden in France. The sunlight flickers, and suddenly the world feels wrong. The people around you are dressed like they've stepped out of an 18th century painting. One woman looks directly at you with haunting eyes. Two women reported experiencing this in 1901. It's not a dream, but a step back in time, literally. Eleanor Jourdain and Charlotte Ann Moberly were not thrill seekers. Charlotte was the first principal of Oxford's prestigious and academic St. Hugh's College. Her co-worker Eleanor was proficient in French literature. The two travelled to Paris in August 1901. They went to the Palace of Versailles, the magnificent residence of French aristocracy just before the Revolution, as part of their itinerary. What started out as a harmless afternoon outing would turn into one of the most well-known alleged time travel encounters in contemporary history. They headed out to find Marie Antoinette's private estate, Le Petit Trianon, which is hidden away among the gardens and trees. However, they lost their way as they walked. The air became dense, the mood changed. Charlotte would afterwards define it as abruptly experiencing oppression and despair. The silence in the gardens was eerie. Then some figures appeared in range. A man with a hideous pockmarked face wearing a coat. Old muskets and green uniformed guards. A woman was standing in a little building's doorway, staring at them without expression. And lastly, a woman sitting on the lawn, drawing. She is wearing a big hat and an old-fashioned white dress. This was when Moberly first saw Marie Antoinette, as she would later say. According to her, the woman had an unnaturally pale appearance resembling a porcelain figure from a different universe. The woman raised her head and then avoided their gaze as though they had no business being there. The mood changed once more shortly afterwards. The tourists came back, the sounds came back, the modern world came back to life. However, something happened. Both of them sensed it, something that defied explanation. The women returned to England and began to talk about what they had witnessed. They were somewhat apprehensive, wondering if they were dreaming it. Their recollections, however, aligned in strange ways when they compared notes. Information they hadn't talked about matched. The research followed. They found that a number of the individuals and locations they observed, such as the pockmarked guy, the ruined bridge, and even Marie Antoinette's clothing style, matched with documents from the 18th century. Information that has long been hidden from the public. They published their story in a book titled An Adventure in 1911, using fictitious names. It generated intense discussion as well as fascination. Skeptics quickly voiced their opinions. Some claimed it was a psychological phenomenon known as folie à deux, or a shared delusion. Others thought they had entered a historical simulation. However, there was no such reenactment planned for that day. Then the theory that stuck came along. A slide of time. A brief rift in reality that permits the past and present to collide. Could some places serve as emotional or traumatizing tape recorders, playing back the past repeatedly? Or was this a real shift in time, or something else entirely? Eleanor Jourdain and Charlotte Moberly never hesitated. They thought they had seen the past, literally, not figuratively, until they passed away. Their story is still regarded as one of the most convincing, unsettling, and inexplicable time-slip tales ever reported. Therefore, the next time you go to a historically significant location, listen carefully. If the air shifts, if the timing seems off, consider this. Is history moving through you, or are you moving through history? What really happened on that steamy August afternoon in 1901? Were Jourdain and Moberly unreliable witnesses of a moment in time, a fleeting lapse into the past? Or were they just two creative brains absorbed in Versailles' splendor and history? But what are your thoughts? Were those two women really transported back to the 18th century? Or was it all a masterfully constructed mental illusion? The truth may never be understood. Have you ever been at a place that seemed a bit out of date? So drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one. And hey, if you enjoyed this little stroll through the weird side of history, give it a like and hit subscribe. I've got plenty more where that came from. Until next time, stay curious and watch your step. You never know when you'll wander into the past.